Hello, Ms. Buchanan's Algebra 1A class. I am looking at your standard form review. I'm going to go through all of these problems with you because this is a review for your test that is on Friday. So let me walk you through these problems. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. So what I'm going to do is, remember, slope-intercept form is I got to get it in this form where y is by itself on one side. And then whatever you have with the x is going to go first after the equal sign. And then whatever you have, if you have anything back here, that's going to be the y-intercept. So the plus b, the y-intercept is going to go back there. What do I mean by that? Well, I got to get y by itself. So what is with the y over here is a 10x. So I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides. So this is in standard form right now. I'm changing it to slope-intercept form, right? So I subtract 10x from both sides, and I put what's with the x first because I want it to look like this, something with the x plus whatever number. So something with the x plus whatever. I happen to have a 5 there. So this becomes y equals negative 10x plus 5. Okay, number 2 is actually a little bit more complicated right off the bat. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Notice I wrote in red what I'm thinking. You don't have to write this stuff. When I subtract 2x from both sides, I end up with negative 3y equals negative 2x. I divide both sides by negative 3, and so in red I'm showing what I'm doing. And so y equals 2 over 3x. And I got rid of the negatives because a negative over a negative is just a positive. Remember, 2 negatives make a positive. All right, for this one, I'm going to start off with getting rid of the 5x. So I subtract 5x from both sides. Yeah, I end up with 3y equals negative 5x minus 18. I'm going to divide both. I'm going to divide everything on this side and everything on this side by 3. What I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So I divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 leaves me with that 1y. That's why I did it. Negative 5 divided by 3 is negative 5/3. And negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. So that's my final answer right there in slope-intercept form. Number 4, easiest one. Just subtract x from both sides, end up with y equals negative x plus 11. Number 5, subtracting 3x from both sides, another easy one. End up getting y equals negative 3x plus 3. Number 6, subtracting 5x from both sides. I end up with negative 4y equals negative 5x minus 8. Then I'm going to divide all terms, this side, that side, by negative 4 to get y by itself. Negative 5 over negative 4 just becomes 5 over 4x. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 becomes a positive 2. Number 7, I'm going to choose whether or not I'm using my x and y intercepts to graph each line, leave it in standard form, or I might change it into slope-intercept form. This one I am going to leave it in standard form and figure out the x and y intercepts. How I do that is, first of all, I set x to 0, and I end up with a positive 2y equals 4. That's why I wrote it over here, 2y equals 4. Now I'm just going to solve for y. When x is 0, y equals 2, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. That's just me doing some algebra, getting y by itself on one side of the equation. And then if y was 0, notice I block it out with my pen. What's left? X equals 4. So it's just x equals 4. I have nothing to figure out. So I go to where x equals 4. I go to where y equals 2 as intercepts, and I just draw the line. That's finding x and y intercepts. Number 8, I noticed that this would be too complicated. Finding the y would be easy. Y equals 4. And, either way you do it, you're going to get the same answers. But this, if I were to, if y was 0, then my 7x equals 4. It'd be 4 over 7, so like 4/7. I really wouldn't know where to put 4/7 on the x-intercept. So what I did was I just put it in slope-intercept form. I got y by itself on one side of the equation. And I have y equals negative 7x plus 4. So that tells me, well, the y-intercept is plus 4. I knew that by just looking at it, by looking at the intercept form method. And then my slope is negative 7. So that means it goes down 7 over 1. And so now I have two exact points I can connect to make a line. Number 9 is pretty easy, looking for the x and y intercepts. What I have here is when x is 0, negative y equals 1. So negative y equals 1, if I change the sign, I don't want to know what negative y equals, I want to know what y equals. So if I change that sign, I have to change the sign on the other side of the equation, so y equals negative 1. If y is 0, then x equals 1. I have nothing more to do. So I go to negative 1 on the y-axis and 1 on the x-axis, connect the points, and make the line. Number 10. I'm going to do slope-intercept form because I noticed that if I was doing just the intercepts, notice it's, when I did make the line finally, it doesn't hit evenly on a number. So, looking at that, if y was 0, that's why I'm blocking it out. I have 2x equals negative 5. It would have been negative 5 halves, and that might be hard to find on the number line. So that's why I went with slope-intercept form. So I just changed to slope-intercept form where I subtracted 2x from both sides. Now I got y by itself. I have my y-intercept, which is negative 5. And then I have my slope, which is negative 2. It means I go down 2 over 1. I went off the charts here. So going off the charts, I had to go backwards. So I went up 2, back 1, so that from this point to this point, I'm going down 2 over 1 through that y-intercept. And I just kept going back, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over, and I did it all the way up just for the heck of it. Okay, you'll notice in number 11, I ended up putting it in slope-intercept form. You can see my steps there. And I started to do just looking for the intercepts, and then I noticed x is off the chart. So I went back and I did it in, putting in a slope-intercept form. So y equals 1/5 x minus 2. So I go to my y-intercept, which was negative 2, and then the slope is up 1 over 5, so up 1 over 5. You notice if I go up 1 over 5, it would be off the chart. It would be crossing the x-axis at 10. So it was easier for me to get a good line putting it in slope-intercept form. Number 12 is actually a very easy one. You just go where x is always going to equal 4. So on every point on this line, x is going to equal 4. And that's called undefined. Whenever you have a vertical line, it's going to be undefined. Hopefully you're pausing this as I'm going through. 13, I'm going to use slope-intercept form because I would have had a half. It would have been like so close I wouldn't be able to see the line on the x-axis. So I put it in slope-intercept form. So I got y by itself on one side. You can see me doing that. I end up with a negative y. I want to know what y is. So if I change the sign on this side, I have to change the signs on this side. So I get y equals 2x minus 1. So I go to minus 1 as my y-intercept, and my slope is 2. Meaning I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. 14, I end up doing the intercepts because this one was actually kind of easy. So when x is 0, I have negative 2y equals 10, right? So negative 2y equals 10. I divide both sides by negative 2. I get y equals negative 5. So I go to y equals negative 5, and I put a point there. And when y equals 0, notice I end up with 5x equals 10. So 5x equals 10. I divide both sides by 5 in order to get x by itself, so x equals 2. So I go to where x equals 2. I connect those points, and I'm good to go. For number 15, this one would have been complicated, because 25 and 7, if I'm, dividing, if I was looking for my my x-intercept, notice that here's the done, here it's done, and this is why I didn't do it that way. It would be in between -3 and 4 somewhere or something. I don't know, it would have been confusing to put a point there. So I did it in slope-intercept form. I'm getting y by itself, so I subtracted 7x from both sides, and then I divided by -5 from both sides, and I end up with y equals 7/5 x plus 5. The -7 divided by the -5 made it positive. -25 divided by -5 made that positive also. So my y-intercept is plus 5, so I go to where y equals 5 and I put a point there. My slope is up 7 over 5. I would go off the charts. So what I had to do was I had to go back 5, down 7. So from this point, it goes up 7 over 5. Okay, so I connected those points to make the line. And last but not least, number 16 is an easy one. You go to where y equals -3 always, and you make that line. So no matter what x, even though x at this point, x is 5, y is what? It's -3. -3, -3, -3, -3. Y equals -3. That's the slope. That's this line, which is no slope. So whenever you have a horizontal line, that is going to be no slope or 0 slope. All right. I hope this helps, and good luck with your test on the next day, which is Friday.